for Coffee with the Editor, Johny Smith, CEO of TransNamib. Some exciting stuff, but just before we delve into your exciting news, how is it going at TransNamib?
Yeah, Philippa, the last year has been a very difficult year for us, especially the first lockdown that happened last year in April. We have tried to manage the situation. We are now implementing a short-term plan as part of implementing our 5-year business plan. So to create more capacity for ourselves in terms of locomotives, because that's really our biggest challenge at the moment that at TransNamib, that we are not able to fulfill to the orders of our customers.
So are you looking at leasing? Are you looking at buying? I mean, I know you've had a couple of weeks ago, you had a terrible week with
Yes.
a few serious accidents. How are you going to be addressing these? I mean, I know you're constrained from a budget perspective, and there are obviously projects for network expansions and that kind of exciting stuff. But I mean, what is the next step, and when will we see some movement on that?
Of course, our business plan is still about remanufacturing about 30 of our locomotives. And then at the same time, also then buy 10 new locomotives, but that is still a process because we are busy sourcing the funding. For the short-term plan, what we're working on is to lease about 4 locomotives. So we've just signed the contract a week ago on that, and delivery will be within the next 3 months for the 4 locomotives. And then as phase 2, we have also gotten permission from our Ministry of Finance to procure for the leasing of about 5 additional locomotives. So we will still go into the market with those so that we can build up the capacity and try and save the short-term situation in terms of our sustainability as TransNamib.
Am I allowed to ask who you signed the contract with?
Yeah, we've signed the contract with Traxtion in terms of the 4 locomotives that they need to deliver now. And then, of course, as I said, we'll go to the market for the 5 locomotives to lease. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will do that.
Okay, well, I think that's exciting and good to hear that you're going to have some tractive effort back on your network. But let's get to the other exciting stuff, which impacts the Southern African region, and that is the announcement recently by the Southern African Railway Association that you are its new president for the next 12 months. Tell me more.
What we have in place at SARA is, of course, it's a rotating presidency between the different railway authorities. So this time around, it is TransNamib. I was the vice president for, normally it's 12 months, but we had to extend it. So I was for 24 months, while Tembi was the president for those 24 months as the CEO or MD for BBR. Have to put railway back to its rightful position in terms of what it can offer to the countries within the SADC region. For too long, railways has been neglected, and this is what I would want to focus on and get itself back into the rightful space in terms of the various modes of transportation.
Okay, so when we talk about putting rail in the Southern African region back on, this is good, we're going to use this pun, back on track.
Yes.
SARA as a body, what is its key role in enabling this to move forward? I think some people kind of struggle with understanding what it is that SARA does. And now you're in the hot seat, for want of a better description. Where are you going to push? What are you going to do?
So SARA is a facilitating body, and it needs to integrate the various roles of the railways, and especially looking at regional integration. And then, of course, it's also got the function of advocacy in terms of providing that role and support to its members within the SADC region, and looking at especially Namibia's role where we want to become a logistics hub. The integration for us is very critical. We have railway connections, of course, in the south. We are linked into the South African network. In the north, we have developed our railway network up to the border with Angola. And then, of course, we need to do the long-term projects of connecting to Zambia and Botswana. So those are the focus areas in terms of us, and that's what I would want to push during the next 12 months, and to ensure that we move more freight by rail. I mean, at this stage, on average, we do around about 12 to 14% by rail, and the rest is by road. That picture needs to change, because at the end of the day, rail will provide a much bigger benefit in terms of reducing the transportation cost. And especially now with all the COVID pandemic challenges, rail can actually offer a much better solution. Also, I mean, you can just imagine one train, at least for us as TransNamib, one train is about 30 road trucks. So if you look at the pandemic drivers that has to pass or cross a border, where you have a total different situation in rail. When we're crossing the border with South Africa, there's no interaction with the drivers, because the locomotives, they each have their own locomotive. So those are some of the advantages that we do have. So we have to optimize in terms of seeing how we can get rail back on the rail track, not on the road track.
Being supported by the CEO of Transnet Freight Rail, it's actually quite a nice power play between a large operator and a medium-sized operator. Yeah. Do you think that now that you have the CEO kind of at that level on the SARA board, that there will be more engagement and interaction in terms of integrating South Africa's network within the SARA context?
I mean, South Africa has got the benefit that it basically integrates to most of the railway networks in the region. So it's about making sure that the value is created on both sides. And what can be built beyond that? Definitely, it's a major advantage, and we will foster that relationship so that we can advance our business as railways, and that benefit can get to everybody in the region. There's really a lot of opportunities that we are looking at as TransNamib in terms of regional integration and growing the railway business. And also on the passenger side, you would want to have a situation where at least Namibians can travel again to South Africa by rail, whether it's by luxury train or normal passenger train. Those are the opportunities and long-term prospects that we have to work towards. Yes, from a SARA perspective, yes, we will make sure that we communicate more. We will then also focus on better integration, communicating more and better, and also providing more information about railways, and then create a much better interest on railways, because it is important that the passion and better understanding of railways and its advantages must be put out there, because people do not necessarily understand what is railways all about, the value that it can provide to the economy. So that's really what we want to focus in the next 12 months.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Johny. And I wish you all the best, both in your ventures there at TransNamib that you've dropped along the way in our conversation, but also as the SARA president. And I trust now that COVID is, well, it's not gone, but that there'll be more engagement, and maybe I can come visit you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for always keeping TransNamib up there.